Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Let's Vibe, the channel all about crystals and our feelings. Now, we're just about at the end of Aries season. Tomorrow, April 19th, is the second new moon in Aries that we're having within the past month. You know, we started Aries season, of course, with a new moon in Aries. But interestingly, Aries season is ending with another new moon in Aries, but this time it's at the 29th degree. That's the final degree of Aries, also known as the anaretic degree. And so we're closing out like a full circle of Aries energy right now. And I've been starting to pick up on some of that new moon energy, but it's not just a new moon that's happening. It's also a solar eclipse on the 19th. I won't be able to see it. I think, you know, most people around the world won't be able to see it, except I think like Southeast Asia, maybe Australia. So it's like a double whammy of Aries energy. We've got the sun and the moon, a solar eclipse. And this is not just your regular solar eclipse either. It's what's called a hybrid eclipse. And that means it appears, well, it as it's moving, I believe, and depending on where you are viewing it, the eclipse is going to start out as what's called an annular eclipse, and that's where there's like a ring of light or a ring of fire around the edges of the moon. But then it's going to go from an annular into a total eclipse. And that's when, of course, the moon completely covers the light from the sun. And so the annular one, the annular eclipse is where there's just like a thin layer of sun around the edges, like a ring. So that's very rare. That's a very rare type of eclipse, the hybrid type. And so, I mean, you can go so deep into the meanings and you know, astrology is very, very deep and complex, but it's just some very interesting energy. What I've been picking up is some strong Aries, you know, push, like wanting to get out and do something, feeling kind of antsy, a little restless. Yesterday, I decided to use some of that energy and go outside. I went swimming and spent some time in the park just to get grounded. I found that it's so simple, it sounds so basic, but just walking barefoot on grass is so grounding. And it's so, when you're able to develop an energetic connection with the earth, with earth energy, through your root chakra and your earth star chakra, and you're able to connect with that energy, when you walk barefoot, it just feels like such a refreshing rush of energy. Like nothing intense, but just, it's very refreshing. It's kind of like being showered with cool water or something. And of course, it's deeply grounding. It's energizing. So just walking barefoot, you know, you don't have to do something complicated to connect with the earth. I also just love sitting under really big trees with my back against the trunk. That's also very cleansing and renewing and, of course, grounding. And I think connecting with the trees and tree energy really helps develop your own energetic roots that can create a real foundation of grounding for you. Anyway, so that's how I was trying to make use of all this Aries energy that was coming up. And for me, the solar eclipse energy is just kind of a little bit unpredictable, kind of little bit wild. But solar eclipses are about removing things from our lives, things that are no longer helpful, like closing a door on something and stepping into a new chapter. And a new moon is also about releasing, banishing things that are no longer serving you. And it's just very interesting that this new moon, which is about beginnings, is happening at the very last degree of Aries. For me, it feels like, a second, like the first new moon was like the penultimate jump, so to speak. And then now this second new moon at the final degree is like the big jump, into starting something new. All that being said, I wanted to do another crystal for Aries before this season ends. And the crystal I chose for this new moon is African gold, also known as, I believe it's also referred to as African pyrite. So it's a form of pyrite or chalcopyrite. I think it's a combo of a couple different minerals. But you can see the pyrite shining there, also known as fool's gold. And so normally pyrite is all gold, and it's naturally, it forms cubes. It's really amazing, the geometry, the crystal structure of pyrite. But African gold, as you can see, it's looks different. It's got some white and dark gray, and the pyrite is kind of just laid on top. So this stone is very much a masculine energy, very fitting for Aries. This stone is highly grounding and very protective. This is a stone that gets you ready to do something, to accomplish something. This stone, meditating with this stone, carrying it, imparts, it gives off vibrations of confidence, a vibration of trust in yourself, and a feeling of stability and groundedness, like I'm ready. I've got what I need. I know what I'm doing. I know who I am, and I'm ready to go. It's just all around. It's an energizing kind of stone as well. And so that's why it's really great for starting something, doing, working towards your goals. And at the beginning of Aries season, I talked about red jasper. And red jasper, as I mentioned, the energy is is slower, it's steadier, it's more calm, and as opposed to African gold. the energy is a lot more enlivening, more like plugging into a gentle, or not, well, it's relatively gentle. I wouldn't call it an intense energy, but it's like plugging into a gentle source of energy. This stone can bring a boost to your self-confidence. It can bring a boost to your self-esteem. I think African gold, I feel it often around my solar plexus, which is where so the solar plexus deals with your ego, with your emotions, with your self-esteem and confidence and self-image. And African gold really strengthens that chakra, the solar plexus. And that creates that feeling of more confidence. And since it is grounding, it definitely resonates with your root chakra as well. And that creates the sense of stability, like you've got a good footing. Holding this stone, I just feel like this is a nice stone for energies like what we're going through right now, just because it gives a sense of, like, the energy outside is kind of chaotic, kind of rough or aggressive, and this stone gives a sense of like strong and steady in a way. And when I'm holding it, I'm not feeling so bothered by the wild energy flying around. So a really powerful masculine crystal to have, especially if you are working on building your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your self-trust. I would say African gold is a great companion for those purposes. Now, I was thinking about a song for this stone, and one of the first songs that came to my mind, I think is very fitting, but it's kind of a one-hit wonder from the 90s, and it's the song Ready to Go by Republica. Republica, I don't know if they're still around, but they were a British band. I don't know, like a rock type band. Anyway, Ready to Go was their biggest hit. It was really gained a lot of popularity in the US. And the whole song, I think, is just perfect for African gold pyrite, because that's what this stone is about. You know, being ready to go after those goals, those dreams, knowing who you are, feeling confident, feeling secure, knowing that you're protected and grounded. So as usual, I will include a link to the song Ready to Go by Republica in the description box below. And I encourage all of you to leave a question or comment, and don't forget to press the thumbs up button and subscribe. And once again, thank you so much for vibing with me.